You can have a client that's paying you 3 grand and you're managing their CRM and automations and running their ads and creating a website for them for free and this and that. And let's say they close 2 deals a month. You're worth 3K, you're not worth more. Versus if you have someone else and you're only doing paid ads for them, but you're getting them 250 sales a month, now you're worth 10, 20K. See what I'm saying? So like a lot of people try to focus on what it is they give them. No one cares about that, bro. And all they care about is the results you're gonna give them. There is 1,000 CRMs, bro. Everybody can go on Go High Level and sign up and start selling a CRM. Why is Salesforce charging some people $30,000, $40,000 a month for a CRM when Go High Level caps out at 500? You see what I'm saying? So it is completely value based if someone believes you're gonna solve that problem for them.
Welcome back to Growth Lab Sessions. I'm Joao, CEO of Stealth White Label Agency, and my mission is simple: to help marketing agencies grow and build sustainable success. And today I'm joined by a founder who embodies the new wave of marketing entrepreneurship. From pivoting out of a pre-med path into digital marketing to co-founding a 7-figure agency in Tampa, he's built GenTech Marketing into one of the fastest growing firms in Florida. Christian Jamal, co-CEO of GenTech Marketing, is helping brands scale with paid ads, funnels, automation, and content, all while redefining what it means to build a full-service marketing agency in today's landscape. Christian, welcome to Growth Lab Sessions. Are you ready to take it to the lab?
Let's chop it up, brother. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's start with your story. You were originally on a pre-med path. Now, how did you end up in this world of marketing and entrepreneurship?
Honestly, it's not a glamorous story. It's not like I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and I had all these dreams and aspirations as a kid, whatever it may be. No, genuinely, I did want to be a doctor. So that was the path that I wanted to do. However, I always had an interest in like not working for someone. You know what I mean? Because whenever I would work for someone, it's as if like my opinion would be completely invalid. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times I look at the way they run their business and I'm like, dude, this is really bad. So eventually it got to the point where I was trying to do like dropshipping businesses, online businesses. I'm sure you're familiar with all those types of things. Um, and that actually put me in debt. So it's not like it is a lot of growth. So that actually put me in a lot of debt. So realistically, I had no choice but to shift because the marketing agency space is one of the only businesses you can start with no money and just your skills. And that's actually really why I landed there.
How long were you in the dropshipping world?
A long time, dude. I've been trying different online businesses since I was like 14 years old.
Wow.
And the first time I made money without losing money was when I was 20. So, like I said, it's not very glamorous. I'm one of those people where I like whenever I see someone new come up and then their business blows up, I don't even look to compete or compare whatever it may be because I know like with me specifically, everything takes 100 times longer. So I'm just gonna stay on my path and eventually like things will work out.
And that's what you learned from being an entrepreneur for so long, right? Because like you've been at it since 14.
Different things like even like posting like clips of other YouTubers opening like packs on FIFA on my own channel to try to get my channel monetized. Like dumb little things that um, I always ended up building an operation of some sort, but I never actually did marketing for any of those businesses. And it started to make sense later down the line where I'm like, I can whip up a Shopify store in less than 24 hours and have products sourced, connected to my website, everything like looks great, but then I have no visitors. And that's when
Yeah.
I start to obsess over the marketing side of like, that is truly the lifeblood of the business. I don't care how good the product is. If nobody knows about you, it's completely irrelevant.
Right. And you focus a lot on revenue. Like you're one of those people that I look up to in terms of knowing how to make money, right?
Appreciate that.
And like your tagline is say hello to better looking
Looking revenue.
revenue. Like how did you come up with that idea? in terms of like the client experience?
100%. So initially, when we were growing the marketing agency, we noticed that we were obsessing over stupid marketing terms, right? Like, oh, we dropped your cost per click, we dropped your cost per lead, and then we would lose clients along the way. Some people would stay, some people would leave. And we were like, okay, one of the main reasons these people are not sticking on is because they don't know how much money we made them. Because that's the thing is like, when it comes to hiring and firing a marketing agency, there's two ways to go about it. You can either do it logically or emotionally, right? Let's say what your top salesperson quit because you actually suck as their boss. You can look at it and say, oh, the leads were not good from the marketing side. Let me fire the marketing company and find someone else, right? Versus if you had a logical standpoint where it's like, let's say you had a spreadsheet with your numbers 100% truly correct of revenue. If your top closer did leave, rather than firing the marketing agency, you can look at the numbers and be like, okay, realistically, we invested X amount, we made this amount, we made a net profit with this partnership, so it makes sense to keep this partnership and find what else could be missing in the business that caused our top closer to leave. You see what I'm saying? And now they can look introspectively, like look at themselves, like what am I doing wrong as a business owner, etc., rather than just like firing the marketing agency they're working with. So really, the way we got into that tagline is trying not to lose clients and instilling that mindset from day one. And eventually it makes a lot of sense, right? So you make the money, they don't fire you.
For sure. Like that's a really important point that you hit because obviously you're super successful, first of all. So everybody listening can take things that you're saying very seriously because you've been at this for a long time. Now, one reason why marketing agencies are often fired is because it's not clear where the fault is, right? It's not clear who's dropping the ball at what point of the way. And marketing agencies are typically generating leads, correct?
Right.
Now, if the closers aren't closing the leads, or if the client isn't doing the follow-ups or everything like that, then it's kind of on them a little bit, right? But what you do is show how it's on them.
Right.
You set it up, you set up the structure so it's clear who's dropping the ball. And how did you develop that, and what are the ways that you create this like data presentation for them?
So we built something called an ROI sheet, which is all the way from the cost of the ads. We include our fees in the ROI sheet because ROI is truly return on investment, and what you invest is ad spend and the fees of the agency, right? So it goes all the way from that to the cost per lead to the amount of contacts that they had that actually connected over the phone, the amount of appointments booked, the amount of appointments showed, the amount of pitches sent, and then the amount of deals closed, and then the amount of people that have come back and bought again later in the future. So we show them that entire timeline, and I'll give you like a real life example. We had one of our pods was having difficulty with a client about a month ago. And they were like, hey, Christian, do you mind like jumping in, seeing if you can talk to this guy? Like every time we jump on a meeting, he's like very negative, right? He's like always like trying to blame us for this work. And even though they had the ROI sheet and everything, some people, you need to come from a different angle in order to show them your perspective, right? Because that's the thing is at the end of the day is everything is a debate, right? Like even when you're like, let's say with your wife and you're like, I want to eat at this place. And she's like, no, I want to eat at this place. Is it worth the battle? Like, is eating at the place you want to eat that important to you? Or is it important to keep your wife happy and like, let's go to the place you want to go? Same thing happens with the clients. But a lot of times people think that just like the client's always right, like whatever they want, like give them. A lot of times it's important to actually call them out and actually run the actual operation your way, because that's the way that's actually going to help them, right? If the client is the one that's jeopardizing the actual partnership, it's important to say that to them in a way that makes sense to them. Because if you jump on a meeting and you're like, dude, you're being negative to our team, they're going to be like, fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you jump in, and what I did is I shared my screen and I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's go through your entire sales process and you tell me which numbers you don't like. Okay? And I was like, this is how much you're spending on our fee. How do you feel about that? And the guy's like, oh, I don't mind it if I'm making a return on investment. right? And then I'm like, okay, cool, great, let's move on. How much are you spending on ads? Are you comfortable with this number, right? Like, let's say you spent this entire amount and you got 0 sales. Are you comfortable with that? Now, keep in mind, they were getting sales, but they weren't converting at the rate that they wanted to. And even though they were profitable, the client was still unhappy. So the guy was like, yeah, I'm comfortable spending that amount. I just want to convert more deals. So I want better quality leads. So he kept setting better quality leads, better quality leads, better quality leads. And then after that, it was the amount of leads being generated and the cost per lead. Client was also cool with that. He just wanted to have more conversations. But then when we got to the sales numbers, the client noticed that, okay, we're talking to about 75% of these people. And then I'm like, how much more do you think you can get to? Because obviously you're not going to talk to 100% of the people that sign up. So what number are you happy with? And he's like, probably 80%. So I was like, so you're unhappy because of 5%? And the guy was like, I think so. And then we jumped into the next stage, which was the actual show up rate, right? And we noticed that that is 15%. I was like, what do you think is a better investment of our time? To focus all our efforts to increase your contact rate by 5%, or to focus on increasing the show up rate of your meeting from 15 to 80%? What do you think is going to be more valuable to your business? And then he's like, obviously the second one. And then we went into telling him, okay, cool. You do know, like, we are not your sales team, correct? And then he's like, yes, I understand. I was like, but that's not a problem, because we're more than happy to jump in and help you come up with scripts and things to get these people to show up. And then once the client is emotionally invested in the success of the project, before he was actually withholding information on the deals they closed because he didn't want us to succeed. When the client became like friends with me, right? Now he comes to me, he's like, dude, we closed the deal, like we're crushing it, whatever it may be, because now he wants it to work. Personally, he wants it to work. So he's more invested. So that's like an example to the point that we were talking about of focusing on revenue, because that gives you a clear idea and it gives you 100% leverage over the partnerships. Because if I didn't have that sheet, I would have lost that client 100%.
For sure. And I think that the sheet is super cool as well for two things. One, it adds your pricing in there. A lot of times I feel like agencies are talking about ROI, whatever, but they're not even including their fees.
Right.
And so adding that fee, it's like part of the ROI story. So that's the full picture from your perspective, at least, right? Because you're not adding their payroll and things like that, which
Of course
doesn't matter.
I mean, every time I'm like, let's say on Instagram, and I see someone post on their story that they spent like 1,000 on ads and they made like $3,000 on ads, and they're like 3x ROAS, we're crushing it. I'm like, how much you pay your marketing company, bro? You didn't make $1. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I love that you help the client with that, because that's what they're thinking in the back of their mind. But there's also your service fee, the ad cost, whatever. So the other part is you have this funnel stages, right? Where you can show great metrics where it's like your responsibility, but then terrible metrics when it's their responsibility. And so that's something super cool that, I'll probably take for ourselves, and people listening should do as well, like other marketing agencies. Now, when you talk about transparency being one of your key differentiators for your marketing services, is this what you mean? Do you have more ways to show transparency as well?
100%. A lot of times, what we do is the following. So,
a quick break in the podcast to tell you about Stealth, my white label marketing agency. If you're an agency owner and feeling stuck in fulfillment, hiring, and team management while trying to scale, this is for you. Stealth helps agency owners like you take fulfillment off your plate so you can focus on growth of your agency, from running ad campaigns and SEO to creating high converting content and managing CRMs. We handle the back end for your clients so you don't have to. Whether you're drowning in client work or struggling to scale your agency, Stealth gives you the support you need to scale without the headache. And if that sounds like a fit, then check out our website link in the description and book a time to speak with a consultant. And now back to the pod.
I know that your structure works like really well for you in scaling a team, which by the way, we've taken a lot of elements from our meeting that we had and implementing it within our business. Um, but the way we do it is we try to have our team have different individuals that have different levels of things that they do, which provides the client a high level of transparency on certain things. So to give you an example, one of those team members is 100% tasked with strictly sending a message to the client every single day with the results of the day prior, and whether they're good, bad, average, doesn't matter. We're sending that message. Because a lot of individuals are scared to tell the client when they had a bad day when it comes to lead count or cost per lead or whatever it may be. But then you just hide the problem, and then you realize 2 weeks later that, oh, this is a huge problem. We can't fix it anymore. But if you show the client, hey, we had a bad day, but this is what we're doing, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what we've implemented so far, 1, 2, 3, and then we're waiting on the results for 4, 5, 6. The client is like invested in the actual entire operation. Because that's the thing, is like, it's not sunshine and rainbows, bro. It's not like you hire the best marketing company in the world and like instantly you're going to be the next Bill Gates. You know what I'm saying? So it's like an entire process. It's about hiring people you enjoy working with and people that know what they're doing. So it's not going to work 100% of the time, but at least having a chance of it working 80%, 90%, 95%, that's a much smarter decision as a business owner than hiring someone that just came out of college, for example.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love how up front you're being about it not being so rainbows and sunshines and rainbows. Now, I love that rawness that you're bringing to the call today. You know, you woke up and you're fired up and you're here to like speak the truth to other agency owners. So that's super cool that you're doing that. Now, speaking of not being sunshine and rainbows, right? Like, what are big mistakes that agency owners or agencies for that matter make with paid ads?
So when it comes, are you asking like a question as in like on the technical side, what do they make as a mistake, or what do they make on like the client partnership?
Well, let's speak about the client partnership and then the technical side because you're super savvy at media buying. I want to hear your take on that.
Yeah, let's do it. So when it comes down to it, and I'll give you like a little backstory to this. So my first client ever was a furniture store. Funny enough, when I was actually cold calling businesses at the time, and this guy picks up the phone, he says to me, I spend $100,000 a month on Facebook. What do you know that I don't? And at that point in time, I had never seen 100,000. So I'm like, fuck, that's a good question, brother. Like, anyways, I ended up meeting this guy. I challenged him. He liked that I challenged him. I'm not going to dive too deep into the story. But point is, this guy was actually invested in it working because I was young. I was like 20 years old. He wanted me to succeed, whatever it may be. I think there was a lot of things that are things that I couldn't control that factored in that I closed this individual. Like, for example, he's Arabic, I'm Arabic. I don't know if that was part of his decision-making factor. Maybe he looked at me as I was young and he wanted to support or help out. Like, I don't know what caused him to want to work with me, but I know one thing for a fact. I worked with this guy for 3 months and I actually grew his business significantly. But I never told him that. And he ended up canceling and hiring his cousin. Okay? So that was the first lesson I learned in the marketing space is like, if you don't tell them, they don't know. And I started to live by a lot of the quotes and a lot of the things that I do. Like every time we lose a client right now, I don't care if literally the client sold their business and it was an amazing reason for why they left. We sit down and we're like, how could we have benefited more from this partnership? What can we learn? How can we have it be a better experience for our clients, right? So for me, that was the first lesson. And a lot of people, when like a client says they want to cancel or whatever it may be, they're like, oh, fuck this guy. Like, I don't want to work with them. And I'm gonna hold their money because like they're not doing good at sales, whatever it may be. It's like very negative, right? When instead, like thinking about it from like a very positive perspective. So another story for this is like, do you know the story of the Ritz-Carlton and the $1,000? So to them, they have a rule that if it costs less than $1,000 and it's going to make the customer happy, then everybody has the ability to swipe the business credit card, right?
Yeah.
So why is that? Why is that? Like a lot of times, like with the marketing space, we look at like, for example, a YouTuber and we look at them as like our inspiration. When there is so many billion-dollar businesses that are already out there and they've already made the lessons
Playbook.
that you're looking for. So you can just replicate a lot of these things. So for me, it's like client experience is number one, right? If I'm a client, would I cancel or would I stay on the team, right? And we are actually a client of our own company. So I don't even run our own ads. I treat it as a client. I jump into the meeting. My team actually takes care of everything. And I talk to them as a client. I genuinely question them. I'm like, why do we do this? Why do we do that? I wasn't happy with the results of the week prior. I was happy with the results of the week prior. And that's what gives, I would say, gives me an unfair advantage is I'm not trying to be an online influencer, bro. I'm trying to grow my business and make money and eventually delete my Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm trying to provide value to the marketplace, be useful, and then fall off the face of the earth.
Okay. Amen.
100%.
Dude, crazy about your backstory is that I am super familiar with the $10,000 concept actually, because I was a busboy at the Ritz-Carlton.
Oh,
And
hell yeah.
so, yeah, I had to learn their whole credo, their playbook. And I was actually one of the few people that worked in that particular restaurant in Half Moon Bay, San Francisco, that exercised that 1K, like
Are you
resource.
serious?
Yeah. Yeah, like a
Hell
lot
yeah.
of people would just kind of ignore because the servers were kind of career servers that had been there for like 20 years, 30 years, whatever. But dude, I used to do things like if I learned a couple was getting married or in a honeymoon or something like that, I would swipe the credit card while I just called the concierge and be like, yo, deliver roses to their room right now before they get there. And they would come back the next day just like, how the hell did you think about that? You know, like you busboy got flowers sent to my apartment and made this whole experience fantastic. It's because of the training. It's because of the playbooks that they have already built. So
That's why you're an amazing business owner, bro. Because you think outside the box. Like
yeah,
typically people, like when they take a job, they they make the box that the business owner puts them in even fucking smaller,
yeah,
you know? And the
yeah,
people that physically cannot be put in the box are the people that are creatives like yourself that want to do cool shit in life. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
for
and
sure.
that's actually a really cool story.
Yeah, thank you. How did you know about the $1,000 Ritz Carlton?
Um, that's the thing is like for example, that one specifically I saw from a reel on Instagram, and then I was
Yeah,
like, this sounds like it could be true. Let me do some research. So in fact, it was true. I like double checked my sources,
yeah,
but I do a lot of research in regards to these businesses,
yeah,
like Apple, for example. I've researched like their way of product delivery. So like for example, when you're opening an Apple package, how it speeds up the further along you get, that increases your heart rate. It's like buying psychology, right? So like I've studied a lot of these companies at a level that sometimes the stuff I'm learning is going to be completely not useful for my business, but that's okay because I'm sharpening my iron. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a better person, a better business owner, so that whatever opportunities I'm a part of in the future, that I can actually succeed. I don't want to do paid ads until I'm 80 years old. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
that's the problem. A lot of people, they don't set like their 5, 10, 20-year goals in the space. And they're just like, I want to make $20,000 a month because they want to go buy a McLaren 570S and flex on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
the mindset of the young entrepreneurs is so fucked. And like genuinely, they're going to get eaten alive by people like me and you where we're thinking to genuinely build a business, disconnect from the business, become an investor, become genuinely worth 9 figures, 10 figures eventually, hopefully. Where these individuals, they want to make cash flow, they don't want to build a business.
Right. Now, dude, let's talk about mindset. So you've been in this game for so long, right? You started
Mhm.
making money at 20 years old. Um, we'll go back to the technical aspect of Facebook ads in a minute, because this is some real stuff that we're getting into. Like, in speaking about mindset, whatever. Now, what was your mindset at 20 years old? You started getting some clients. You started making some money. Like, what was your vision in terms of Like, yeah, what was your mindset like? Were you studying a lot, getting mentors? Walk us through that.
For sure. So, at that point in time is actually when I realized who my biggest enemy was,
What
which
year
is
was that, by the way? What year was that you were 20 years old?
20 years old is what is that? 2020, 2021. Like right around
Okay.
that time. So
Okay.
not like really 20, but like 19, 20.
Okay.
And I found out who my biggest enemy was. And lo and behold, it's myself, right? I'm actually like naturally very, very lazy. And I procrastinated a lot in college when it came to like homework and things like that. I was like, I can't do that in my business. And I read this quote. I honestly can't remember where, but this quote is literally like, if I could tattoo it on my heart, I would. And I actually just got it tattooed on my hand. It's right here. And it says, don't be a slave to your mood.
I
Okay.
saw that. Yeah.
Right. So to me, I genuinely was a slave to my mood. If I felt like studying, I would study. If I didn't feel like studying, I wouldn't study. If I felt like going to a party, I would go to a party. If I didn't feel like it, I would stay at home, you know? And that is such a bad way to lead a business because when it comes to procrastinating on a personal level, if you don't have responsibilities and you want to procrastinate, by all means, it's your life. But as a business owner, when other people's rent and lifestyle and food that they put on the table depends on you, you better shut the fuck up and not be a slave to your mood. You know what I mean? You better genuinely work like you have 3 times as many employees that you need to take care of. And that to me is like the biggest mindset shift is when I realized that me, the natural version of myself, was my biggest enemy. And I started to shed that skin and become another person. Yes, same body, yes, same everything, but like genuinely, truly, deep down, a very, very, very different person. I talked to maybe 2 people that knew me from back then, and they are my closest friends. But I had hundreds of friends. I had hundreds of people that I would talk to on a very regular basis where honestly I don't even know anything about them for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So and that's what it became. It became like not even being the same person.
Now, what did that translate to in terms of your day to day, right? Like, you're like, don't be a slave to my own mood. Now, what does that mean that you had to do every day in order to crush it?
So for me, I would do everything very late. Like I would submit my homework assignments like an hour before midnight or whatever it may be, or even a couple minutes before midnight, to be honest. But I realized that if I have my calendar structured in a way where I'm pretty much like very like OCD. Like if everything is like structured, ABC, do this, do that, then I will succeed because then I will just do it in that allotted time. So like in my calendar, I have spaces for lunch, I have space for gym, I have space for date night with my wife, I have space for client meetings, space for podcasts like this. You know, so it's all organized in a way where I can just shut off my brain and go on autopilot. Because if in my autopilot mode, I can do the things that need to be done, then I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, especially probably with you as well, where if you have hundreds of meetings on a weekly basis, you forget things, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's only natural. So if you have everything written down and you have a game plan, every single morning, the first thing I do is I open my calendar, and every single night, the thing I do before going to sleep is check my calendar. So
Yeah.
I just mentally prepare for the next day. Like if I
Yeah.
have 20 meetings versus 3 meetings, it's different. The reason I messaged you last night and I wasn't sure which link to utilize for the podcast is because I was reviewing my schedule. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like all these things, you have to find out who you are. This is the beauty of entrepreneurship is it literally is like a lie detector,
Yeah.
right? Like you need to find out your weaknesses and actually fight your weaknesses from within because no one's gonna fucking do it for you.
Yeah. And it's also a personal development journey where your lie is going to be exposed in 1, 2, 3, 4 months. It's going to get it exposed. You're going to be in debt. You're going to like not be profitable. You're not going to be growing your team. You're going to be stuck at the same revenue. Bro, the market tells you the truth. It's a fucking
Thousand percent.
year of who you are, right?
Thousand
And how
percent.
like big your imagination is. Now, I think that's so real for people to catch on to because like I can already feel beginner agency owners or like early agency owners thinking about, well, what should my offer be, right? Or like, what are the technical aspects to get new clients or whatever? Dude, you got to start with your mindset. Like, what Christian just talked about is the way that he structures his day in order to be productive, right? In productivity, taking action is like that lie detector sort of thing. Because if you're not taking action, that lie is going to go off and you're not going to be getting results essentially. And so I think a big shift in, the way that I interpret everything that you said from my own perspective is that the moment that I started having a very structured day with meetings with people to get something done and move on to the next is when I started being more productive.
For sure. And like to give you some food for thought, like yes, now me and you have big teams and we're busy and stuff like that. But even like day one, I used to put things on my calendar and I'm just like cold call businesses off of Google. Like literally not that organized, but like just like at least a major goal, a major task. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't have money because I was in so much debt. So like I was doing cold calls, which I know people don't recommend, but I'm like, that's how I built my business. You know what I mean? Is
Yeah.
talking to people.
Yeah.
So
For sure. I had something that was like a tracker of everything I knew I should be doing that week. So like I had my Monday through Friday, so columns, right? Monday through Friday. And then on the side, on like the rows, I had week one. And so it was like, no, the rows were the days and the columns were everything I needed to do. So like workout, that was always a priority to be, like in a disciplined state. And then cold calling, like sales activity. I need to put in 1 hour. So like there are different ways to do it. Like you did it through a calendar. I did it through a sheet that I had to like mark off every day that was like stuck to my table, my desk. And I still do that sometimes. But what it boils down is you need to be doing work. You need to be putting energy into what you know you should be doing, right? So like sales in the beginning, right? And now it's like we got to be doing meetings with people and we're like stacked with meetings. um, and so I love that you shared that because that's super real. And let's go back a little bit now in terms of creating your agency. You were doing a lot of cold calling yourself. Were you also doing the fulfillment aspect of the business?
yeah, so I was pretty much doing like everything I possibly could to grow the business. Like, doesn't matter what it took, doesn't matter how many hours it took. But I noticed that every time I focus on like RGA, like revenue generating activities, the business would grow. And every time I would focus on fulfillment, our churn rate would drop. So it's like, okay, I can't be two people at once, so I got to pick which side to do. And that's exactly how I started to develop teams so that I can, like, let's say, not be directly connected with the fulfillment, but the fulfillment is at least working like semi decent. You know what I mean? So I can focus on sales or vice versa or whatever it may be.
Dude, like something I wanted to ask you is you're super driven, right? Even though you're procrastinating at, academics or whatever, I think everybody listening, does procrastinate academics. Like, where do you feel you got the drive from to just want to crush it in life and grow, a big business that goes beyond just cash flow for like, a car, a mansion, things like that?
This is a tough question for me, bro, because I feel like for me, it wasn't about the desire to be better. Okay. For me, it's the fear of being the same. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't care how much I win. I just care that I'm not the same person I was yesterday, right? Like, of course, I have big goals and things like that, but these are really only things that I write down. They don't really drive me. What drives me is like Christian from 1 year ago sucks. Can't be that guy. You know what I mean? Um, and maybe it's because I grew up poor and I don't want to go back to a state like that. My parents got divorced at an early age. I don't want this to become a fucking therapy session, but um, pretty much like deep down, I truly believe it was because of financial. So I have a lot of like financial trauma growing up to where now the last thing I want is financial trauma, right? So that's why, like for me, it's a push against, not towards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Um, and do you feel like as you get your businesses to grow bigger, do you feel like your ambition changes in any way?
Uh, Not particularly. Like to me, I just genuinely enjoy the game. I guess maybe a little bit. Actually, I take that back. Like I think maybe a little bit because initially, like I want to grow my business to make money and things like that. Now I want to grow my business to disappear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it's very cool because for me, I used to care about the materialistic stuff early on, and I don't know why a lot of entrepreneurs find it difficult to say that. It's like, yeah, you bought a $30,000 watch, but you don't like materialistic stuff. Like, bro, who the fuck are you lying to? Like, it's okay to like these things. Like, it's natural. Like, if you're honest with these people that are listening to the way you talk, to the things you're talking about, they won't feel bad about themselves for wanting to buy the car, the watch, the whatever it may be. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And I used to be like fairly materialistic, but I only liked select few materialistic things. Like, I like the cars, I like the watches, I like shoes, things like that. And now I'm getting to the point where I read the book called The Psychology of Money, and now I'm like, fuck cars, fuck watches, fuck everything. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now I'm going complete 180, and I'm like
Okay.
going the opposite way. But the nice part about these things is that the people around you get to experience them. To give you an example, my brother and a good friend of mine love watches, but they don't have a crazy watch collection, right? And they wanted to go to an event that was local to us that was like a watch event. They came over, we drove together, and I was wearing my watch, my brother was wearing my other watch, and my friend was wearing my other watch. And to me, it was such a cool experience because they got to be prideful in the friendship, the relationship we have together, and enjoy and experience having conversations with people in things that genuinely interest them, right? And like for example, with the cars, like I had a tattoo session a couple days ago where my artist was talking to me about how he's never been in a supercar before. Where I literally had him take me on a drive in my car, and is like he gets to experience that, and he was showing it to his daughter and things like that. Like that to me is so rewarding. Where it's like you can look at it from a perspective of Christian is selfish. He wants to feel good for making other people enjoy life a little bit more by even 1%, right? But for my perspective is I don't care what people think. For me, it is genuinely altruistic, where I'll just give it away,
Yeah.
right? Like I really don't give a fuck. So it is cool, in my opinion, to like these things. But then once you get to the point where you've had them for a long time, it's like not the same. Where now it's more about being disconnected for me.
No, I love how, like when I met you beginning of the year, you would post your car a lot. And I loved seeing those stories. Like it would get my dopamine going, right? Especially like your Lambo, it's super customized, right? Like the paint job, things like that. So I love that you post that stuff, that you post your watches, that you have like the Lamborghini logo. It gets me going. I love seeing how people are unapologetic about of being themselves, not trying to put a mask and be like, yeah, I don't want to show my car. No, dude, I want to show my car. It's sick.
Yeah.
And I understand the way that I've seen that with other people with a lot of money is that not that they get really bored of having like great material things, but you start taking more joy out of seeing other people who haven't experienced getting that joy that you used to get maybe in the beginning, right? And you know that it's going to be super fun for them. And so it's super fun for you, right? To
Right.
see them like have that joy. So I had a friend take me on a ride recently with his Ferrari, and he knows how to drive super well. And that was super fun for me, right? I had my Insta 360 and I was just recording us go through like the mountains and crush these turns, and like my smile was ear to ear,
Hell
right?
yeah,
We
bro.
had a
I
great
know that
time. We
feeling,
built
bro.
some memories.
Hell
Like
yeah.
that's what it's about,
Right.
using your money to create experience with people you love. So
Right.
I get that. Um, Now, in terms of getting these nice things for yourself, right, which all these people hopefully or I guess want to get, and you know, growing an agency and making money, what do you feel are like sort of advice that you have for early entrepreneurs or early agency owners in terms of like scaling and being able to afford materialistic things?
Uh, Nothing is going to pay your bills more than sales. That's it. So, like, you can't grow your business without selling. And also, you can't grow your business if you need to outsell your churn, like you outsell your loss of clients. So, that's your two challenges in the marketing space is lose less clients, onboard more clients. And the thing is that the more reps you do, the more likely it is to happen. It doesn't matter how big of a marketing company you have or how small, the reps you put in, a lot of people think that it has to be the same. Dude, if a marketing company has been around for years and they have awards and case studies and testimonials, maybe they need to contact 100 people to get a client. If you have a marketing company that doesn't even have a fucking website, you might need to contact 1,000 people to get a client. So that's why, like, early on, you might even need to work harder to acquire a customer. Yet people want to work the same, and just because they're working the same, they're like, my reward is coming. Like, no, dude. Like, the environment doesn't care about you at all. Like, the marketplace will only reward what needs to be rewarded. And that's the thing is, I truly believe your income is a direct correlation of the business owner and the person you are. I am truly a believer of that. Now, some months you might make more than you're worth, and some months you might make less than you're worth. But the average will always be truly who you are. And who you are is what you know, how you handle situations, things you think about, how much risk are you open to taking, things like that. And I was talking about this at a mastermind. I was doing like a presentation about it. To me, the graph is literally like knowledge and time. And that line goes like this, and your income goes like this, right around that line, where it will always fluctuate around the same average. And in order to grow your business initially, you're going to have to be in secret competition with people like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, people that don't even know you exist. You have to be in secret competition with them. And you have to do as many reps as they're doing, if not more.
Yeah. So one thing that you've done really well, and like, by the way, you also have ways that you help agency owners, right? Which, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that. Now, one of the ways that I see you've done super well is knowing how to charge people, right? You know how to get your money.
Right.
And so I imagine that in the beginning you were charging $1,000,
Less.
$1,500 to like $50. Like I'll pay you to work.
No, like
Now,
it was like to that point, I ran ads for people for $100 a month.
walk us through that evolution of how you charged clients and increased your rate.
So, it's actually kind of funny because it like happened by itself. It's not like I had like this master plan of how to increase my price. So I'll walk you through the 2 and 3 stages that we went through. So stage 1 is beginner agency. I will work with anybody who is willing to pay. I'll walk your dog. I don't give a shit what service you want. I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, we got to the point where we were so busy, my partner and I, but we were making like very little money. It was like the business was making like 6 grand a month, and between me and him, we were doing like 3K. I'm like, dude, I could make more working at McDonald's. You know what I mean? So I was like, this is not making sense. So we had to force raise our price. And for us, it wasn't just raise our price, but also learn how to say no. So that was phase 1. Learn how to say no. Someone comes to me and they're like, my budget is $100. Sorry, I can't help you. When before I was like, yeah, no problem, $100, give it to me. Right? So learning how to say no. Phase 2 is starting to incrementally increase the price based on the percentage of close rate. If I have a 15% close rate at a $1,500 price point and a and a 15% close rate at a $2,000 price point, what should I charge? Well, obviously 2K. I'm closing at the same rate. I'll get an extra $500 for doing the same work. And eventually that was the ascension until we got to about a $3,000 price point where I started to notice like I wasn't internally comfortable pitching more. And that was right around the mark where we were doing $60,000 to $70,000 a month as a business. And then our goal was to make 100K, right? But in order to do 100K, we needed to do 90 first. You know what I mean? And it was actually the last day of a month. I can't remember what month it was. I think it was April. Yeah, because I remember my birthday was right around there. So
Of 2020 or
I'm trying to think.
like more than
No,
like
no, no,
3 to 4
not
years ago?
2020. It was probably 2022. Yeah,
Okay.
it must have been 2022. Yeah. Um, and then I had my day stacked with meetings. At that point in time, I was completely out of fulfillment. I was just doing calls all day, sales 24/7. And I remember this. So I had an hour block on my calendar where my meetings were two 30-minute meetings. And in my head, I was like, fuck, dude. Like, if I get a big deal, like let's say I get someone to pay 4 months up front, then we'll hit that 90K. And then I will be closer to hitting 100. So I did my 30-minute sales call with this guy. And then when it came to the pricing, I didn't go to my slide where I show the pricing. And I told him it's $12,000 for 3 months. 12,500 actually. And I think I anchored the price where I told them it's usually 15,000, but if you pay today, it's like 12,500 because it's the last day of the month and we're trying to hit our goal. And the guy says, okay, no objections, by the way. And usually with pitching 3K, I was getting objections. I was like, oh, cool. So I send him the payment link. The guy pays right there and then on the call. So I'm like, interesting. My next meeting, I was like already super hyped. Like I was already on a high because I was like, we fucking hit 90K, bro. Next month, we're going to aim for 100. On my next call, I'm like, fuck it. What am I going to lose? I already hit my goal for this month. So I pitched 12,500 again. And lo and behold, this dude also paid 12,500, no objections. And we literally hit 100K that month. That was our first time hitting 100K. And I was like, well, shit. I'm never charging $3,000 again. You know? So, and that's exactly how it happened for us, where the ascension of the pricing became like a thing that I stumbled on by mistake. I believe that success leaves clues. Like if the universe didn't want me to succeed, the guy would have said no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do
So
believe
that's
like
how you went from 3K to 12K retainers.
yeah, it was like super random. Like I made up that price. If they're watching this podcast, like I appreciate you. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those situations.
Ah, that's so fun, dude. That's so awesome. I love how you tell stories. Really engaging. It really takes
I'm
a
sorry,
turn
bro.
of like 0 to 100. Okay, cool. So since that day, but you know, I think for people listening, I guess there's a couple lessons to just to reiterate for them. One is you start increasing your prices slowly and looking at your your sales conversions, right? Are you maintaining your close rate? Okay, keep increasing the price.
Right.
Now, when you're like, fuck it, this is an off day, I'm fully caffeinated, I'm ready to go, and it's the
Yeah,
last
bro.
day of the month, just take some shots, right?
Yeah.
And see what happens when you just go wild,
Yeah.
which is kind of what happened to you, right? You're like, how do I go from 60 to 90? And then you're like, I went from 60 to 100.
It
And
was
that's
like
how,
70 to 100, but yeah.
okay, 70 to 90, and then you went 70 to 100. So since that day, like, did you just start pitching 12K retainers? And was that 12K a month?
So no, it was 12K for 3 months paid up front because in my eyes, I was like, I would technically be still charging the same. I just want to collect more cash now so I can hit my monthly revenue goal. You know what I'm saying?
So that's what agency owners call PIF, right? Like
Right, the paid in
paid in
full.
full.
I
Yeah.
don't do that anymore. Right now, I actually prefer monthly payments because it's easier for me to calculate my true churn.
Yeah.
So I personally prefer retainers. Now we do have clients that do it sometimes. We tell them like we give them like a ridiculous number to where we don't even want them to take it. We'll tell them like, yeah, we'll give you 10% off if you pay 12 months up front at like 10,000 a month or 25,000 a month. So to them, I want to scare them from that number. I want them to just like pay me monthly. But some of them take it. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll take it.
Now, how did you go from 3K a month to 10K plus a month in retainers?
So I realized that the pricing you charge is completely irrelevant. It's what you're giving to them and if what you're giving to them is worth it for their business. If I do the same exact service for 10K a month and I increase a business's revenue by 5%, but the business that I'm working with, one is doing 10 grand a month and I just generated for them an extra 500 bucks a month, that will be a horrible deal. But if the business I'm working with is making a million a month and I made them an extra $50,000 a month, then my 10K makes sense. Do you see what I'm saying? So like it is also who you work with that determines your price point. And a lot of times people think it's them, but really it's who you're talking to, right? And the same concept applies for the people that want to work with you as well. Like if you're working with bigger businesses, you're definitely going to get better talent applying to you guys because you will look significantly more credible. You will be building a much more successful business, a much more reputable business at least. And eventually all of this stuff snowballs. All you need is one person to pay you 10K for you to have a deep down belief that you're worth it. You know what I mean? Because after you run their numbers, they have a positive ROI. You're like, well, why the fuck isn't everybody paying me 10K?
I like getting paid 10K a month, right?
Right.
It's
And
fun.
that's like an average retainer for us now, where we have
Yeah.
clients doing 25K a month, etc. But to them it makes sense. To someone listening to this that might be charging 2, 3K, they're like, dude, Christian is crushing it, whatever. It's like, no, dude, like I'm just working with a different person and I'm probably doing less work than you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure. Um, so what do you think are the advantages and different or so what do you think are the advantages and disadvantages of retainers versus pay per lead model?
So I like pay per lead because it doesn't feel like you're paying that much, but really when it stacks up, the math makes sense. So it's kind of like psychological pricing where you're kind of like under the radar, right? Um, to where pay per lead is as if you give them the ROI sheet up front, right? Because with a retainer model, people are like, I'm paying you this up front and I'm hoping I get this result. With a pay per lead, it's like I am guaranteed this result. My job is to do the sales. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why with our pay per lead model, we got to 500K a month in 3 months after opening that business, is because simply we were under the radar. And what we did is we partnered up with people that we wanted 10% of a watermelon, not 100% of a cherry, right? So, and a lot of people say that, but then they fucking get 10% of a cherry. So like realistically, you do have to build a mammoth for a lower percentage to start making sense. So that's exactly what we did. That's why I like pay per lead and I like retainer, because retainer is they're showing you how much trust they have in you, so you can take that partnership and really take it to the next level. When compared to pay per lead, they're not emotionally attached to the relationship, but you know exactly what your exposure is. So if you're selling the lead for $35 and you're generating it for 15, you know for a fact you are going to make X amount per lead. So now the question becomes, how can I sell more leads? And then also customer service is significantly less on the pay per lead side, where it's much higher on the retainer side.
So do you do a lot of one versus the other, or do you have a lot of hybrids? How does that work?
Yeah, so for us, it's like either or. Like, we don't want to do a hybrid model, but typically the method that I found to be the best, I guess it is technically a hybrid model now that I think about it. So what we do is we charge them a retainer to manage their pay per lead company, and then we take a percentage of the lead company as well. So whether the lead company makes money or not, we make money, and if the company makes money, then we make even more money. So, so I guess technically it is a hybrid model. Honestly, I don't really care for which one. I don't have a model that I'm like, if it wasn't for this type of business, I wouldn't be where I am today. I think it's just about finding where like you find the most success internally, not just financially, but like also with the lifestyle you want to have, right? And the business you want to lead. Because that's the thing, as a pay per lead agency is cool, but you have a significantly higher risk, right? You're spending two, three, $400,000 a month in ad spend. Can you go to sleep and stomach that, right? Your credit card, let's say, gets, or like your payment processor gets frozen. Do you have a couple $100,000 to keep going without impacting your business? Your ad account gets disabled. Are you fucking cooked? You know what I mean? Like, So there is so many different variables that play in the pay per lead, and everybody thinks pay per lead is like again, sunshines and rainbows. They see someone say 500K a month in 90 days. Christian's not that smart. I can do it too. And then they jump into it and then they get fucked, right? But they like that's the thing is like every type of business has its pros and cons. So there is no one that's better than the other. And honestly, if I was starting from scratch, I would do the retainer model. It's significantly less risk and it doesn't require capital.
Boom. Now, last question about this price increase. How do you look at increasing your offering services, right? So pay per lead or like, ads plus funnel plus whatever, plus SEO plus website.
So what you give them is actually irrelevant. It's what you're returning to them. So um, you can have a client that's paying you $3,000 and you're managing their CRM and automations and running their ads and creating a website for them for free and this and that. And let's say they close 2 deals a month. You're worth 3K. You're not worth more. Versus if you have someone else and you're only doing paid ads for them, you don't even have access to their CRM, but you're getting them 250 sales a month. Now you're worth 10, 20K. See what I'm saying? So like a lot of people try to focus on what it is they give them. No one cares about that, bro. And all they care about is the results you're going to give them. The reason having like multiple things within your service delivery is for 2 reasons. Number one, it is true that someone might feel a little bit more comfortable paying you if you're doing more shit. But that's not the decision-making factor. The decision-making factor is if they believe your process works. There is 1,000 CRMs, bro. Everybody can go on Go High Level and sign up and start selling a CRM. Does that mean the CRM is the best CRM in the world? Right? So why is there different price points? Right? Why is Salesforce charging some people $30,000, $40,000 a month for a CRM when Go High Level caps out at 500? You see what I'm saying? So it is completely value based if someone believes you're going to solve that problem for them. So if you tell them that I like to run your ads, build your funnel this specific way, and set up automations this specific way, and that's why these 3 things work together, then they believe in your system, then you can actually run it. Now, your system obviously has to also work, or you would be like a scammer. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just like make up a bunch of stuff and put them together just to come up with a good offer.
Right. Beautiful. That's, I love that. That's straight to the point. You got to get results, right? You got to focus on results and not just making it look good. It has to deliver what they're looking for, right? Instead of just like say everything you're doing, it's like, what are you getting them? Which is why they're coming to you for. Now,
imagine this, bro. Imagine this. How would you feel if you bought a Ferrari, like you said, like you bought the identical one to your friends, and you jump into the car and you turn it on and it doesn't have a sound, and you put it in drive and the fastest it goes is 10 miles an hour? How happy are you going to be?
Pissed.
Right.
Pissed.
Now let's try another scenario. Let's say you buy an average car, whatever it may be, doesn't matter. You jump in it and you turn it on and it's fucking loud as shit, and you put it in drive and it's a fucking rocket. How would you feel?
I would love it because
Exactly.
I'm getting so much more value out of it.
Exactly. And that's exactly the case, bro. So that's a lot of times people make their thing look like a Ferrari, but deep down it's like fucking, it's like the Flintstones, bro. There's no bottom of the car and you're fucking walking. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. I'm sorry. You have to actually like give a fucking legit service.
I love it, dude. You're giving me so many like sound bites.
I'm gonna feed this into the captions app, bro. Editors are done.
It's the Flintstones. That's gonna go into the commercial, the trailer for this.
Yeah, just put a Ferrari with like no bottom.
You got the editor. You got that editor and social media analyst. Let's make that happen. All right, cool. So transitioning, changing gears, right? Since we're talking about cars and talking a little bit about Christian 2025, late September, right? What is grounding you today? Like what's important for you today?
So currently I'm under contract for my dream house. So fingers crossed it actually works out. And we should be moving in end of October, 1st of November. And my goal is to become a dad. You know what I mean? So that is my ultimate goal. Um, I already really love taking care of other individuals. So I have 3 cats and a dog, which I take care of as well. So I kind of live in a zoo, but it is what it is. And I wanted to get another dog, but my wife was like, hold on, can't get no more pets. We need to get a kid. And I agree with that. So that's what we're doing right now. So my motivation right now is like not even, there is nothing business related that is my motivation. So it's more so about the next stage in life. Because that's the thing is like as young entrepreneurs, a lot of times like people preach like don't focus on women, focus on yourself, don't go out, focus on yourself, build your business, business is gonna pay you, business is never gonna leave you, blah blah blah. Like all these like things that are people are fed on the internet. But then let me ask you a question, bro. A very simple question, in fact. Do you work to live or do you live to work? You know what I'm saying? And to me, whenever I realize that I'm working to live, dude, all these other things stop mattering.
You're in the next stage of life, right? You've
Right.
built businesses, you're getting your dream house, like you've had fun with your material goods, you already have them. Now, other things are becoming more important for you, which is family,
Right.
right? Building, creating your family, and eventually focusing on your legacy, right? Like you have a lot of conviction in what you're saying. That takes experience. That shows that you've gone through the journey. You know who you are and what you care for and what you stand for. Now, when you think about your legacy in terms of business or in terms of a human, what are you looking to leave behind in like 10, 20 years? What are you looking to grow?
So for me, I don't really have a motivation to leave a business or a lot of money or anything like that. I just want to leave my friends and family with good memories, crazy things that we shouldn't have done that end up being the best ideas ever. You know what I'm saying? Um, and really just being a rock that people can depend on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like let's say I died today, would I regret anything? And would my friends and family talk shit about me? You know what I mean? So it's not like about like their opinion, but it's more so like, was I the person that I wanted to have in my own life? You know what I'm saying? And that's why to me, like mostly smaller things mean a lot. So like when I go to valet my car, whatever it may be, I try to tip significantly more than everybody else. Because to them, I want them to have that drive. I want them to look at my car and say, "Fuck this guy. I can get a better one." You know what I mean? Like same thing with servers at restaurants. I used to be a server at a restaurant. And I remember when people would leave me a $5 tip on a $150 bill, and to them it's like, yes, they saved money, but to me it's like it might mean I might not be able to pay my rent. So a lot of times I have a minimum threshold of how much I tip at restaurants. I don't care if I bought a coffee and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to be the person that I wish appeared in my life when I needed it most. So that's for me like the biggest thing.
Wow, I love that, bro. I love that. Congrats for having that mindset. That shows so much character that you have. And it also shows your journey, right? That you were poor or you worked in restaurants and you like
No, I was
had
poor, bro. That's correct.
maybe an experience of like somebody tipping you really well and then tipping you badly. And you're like, I want to be this person that tips well. And then you spend a decade working at yourself and um, being a savage and making money. And now you're at the point of being the person that you wanted to be like 10 years ago and beyond, right?
Right.
So that's my read from it. And so that's super cool.
We don't
Now,
take any of this shit to the grave, bro. All
yeah,
the houses, the cars, the money, the legacy, the business, none of that shit matters. Just enjoy it while you're here, provide a good impact. Hopefully, the next generation is influenced enough to want to be like you and be a positive person. And that's it, bro.
Experiences and memories, right?
Right.
Let's do a rapid fire to wrap things off. Okay, now
I talk too much. That's why that boy want rapid fire.
we're gonna take it back a little bit. I love that we covered all of these different mindset things, some technical things, and now we're gonna be super technical with like quick bites of knowledge that agency owners can take away. And so, what is one tool or software that you can't live without?
Did you say one software that I can't live without?
Yes,
Stripe.
Stripe.
Facts.
Bro, you are so money. I love it.
No, but to be real though, it's probably like Go Ahead Level. It just makes my life 10 times easier.
That's the first time somebody said Stripe. I love it. How many niches is GenTech actively involved in?
We are a general marketing company, so we don't precisely pick a specific niche, but we are pretty big into 3 niches at the moment. And I only recommend doing that after you mastered one niche and then add another vertical or whatever it may be.
What's a client case study that you're most proud of?
Eric Bosworth, 10 grand a month to 4 million a month in 18 months.
Wow.
And he's a friend of mine, and he buys me steak when we go out. So that's my guy.
What's your average monthly ad spend for acquisition, for client acquisition?
Like cost per acquisition on our company?
No. What's like your average monthly ad spend that you put towards client acquisition?
So between 10 and 15%, depending on the month of the year. So some months like August, etc., these are historically bad months for marketing agencies. So we try to spend a little bit more to retain our same momentum. And then in other months, we try to lower the ad spend a little bit, just because what we want to do is we don't want to break our fulfillment just because we want to acquire more customers. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And if you could automate one part of your business, which one would it be?
I mean, I have everything that I want automated already done. I wouldn't want to automate like high level sales because I really do enjoy it a lot. Like I feel like so much fulfillment from closing deals and my team being like, what the fuck? How did this even happen? Things like that. So there is not an answer for that. But if someone is listening to this, I would say automate your weakness.
Right. And can you share one unique tactic that you've used to acquire new clients?
Honestly, I don't know if there's anything unique that I do, bro.
I think it's not unique to you, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I just do a lot, dude. Like I'm trying to be everywhere, talking to everyone. Like I don't care if we do business together or not. Like I just want to be positive and out there. I mean, I guess the lead company side of things is like a unique mechanism that we came up with, where it's like pay us to build it for you and then pay us to manage it for you. And it's like no risk on our end. So I guess that's like unique about us, but that's a fulfillment method. That's not an acquisition method.
Yeah. But like, I think it's not unique, but it has worked for you where you're just talking to people and hitting them up, even though like you're not an SDR or whatever, you
Right.
hit people up and it's just like, hey, what's going on? You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, if I see some of the people that I go to mastermind with and stuff, and I see their ads and I find things that suck, I send it to them and send them a voice note. I'm like, bro, tell your media buyer to do this, 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 this. And honestly, I don't care to sell them. I just want to help, like genuinely.
What's one marketing trend that is overhyped right now?
Being a lifestyle influencer, I would say. Like I was on a call with someone yesterday and they were trying to get me to invest in them buying a Lamborghini so they can sell their course. I was like, brother, what? What are you talking about? G?
Invest in them.
Yeah, and he already has a nice car. I was like, that make no sense, dude. Like a lot of times people assign their value with what they wear, what they drive, how many followers they have, whatever. None of that matters. My richest connection has 328 followers on Instagram. And he's private. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't
Yeah.
have a single picture of his vehicles on social media. That's all you need to know. You know what I mean? Like you don't need that to build a successful business.
So you were talking about MRR at 500K. Is that where you are today?
No, so actually we scaled our business up to about 700 and then we sold a portion of that business and right now we're around 200 but the highest profitability we've ever had and it's perfect for me because actually I deal with relatively low headaches compared to the amount that we generate and right now my main focus is actually my consulting side and it's pretty cool because I get to only work with people I really really like and I'm not doing it financially because I don't need it financially. And we're just growing businesses to the stratosphere, bro. That's like really the goal. I'm like, hey, I can take your business to that amount. If I do, give me 10%. And that's it. And it's really fucking fun for me because I can focus on my specialty and not even have to even think about like automating my weaknesses and things like that.
Hmm. So is that typically how, if people liked what they heard, is that the way that you work with people these days?
I don't work with people on a consulting side if I don't know them. But if they want my agency to run their ads, we can do that. And if they want me to do consulting, but I don't know them, like we would have to get to know each other. Like, let's set a meeting, talk about your business, your life goals. Tell me, I want to know their personal life. I want to know who it is that I'm working with. You know what I'm saying? And once that is clear to me, I can dictate whether or not this is someone I want to do business with. But that's the thing is like doing business with someone just because they are successful is actually the dumbest decision someone can do. You know what I'm saying? So same thing goes vice versa. Like if they don't know who I am and they don't understand my values and what I believe to be important, for them to just want to hire me because they listened on a podcast is also foolish. You know what I mean? So I think the best thing to do is to communicate one on one.
So go follow Christian, get to know him, and then decide that you, if you want to engage him or not. To start a conversation with
For
him so he
sure.
can get to know you. My last question to you, I already feel like I know the answer to this one. Now, if you had to focus on only one channel to grow a brand today, which
Yeah.
one would it be?
Paid ads, no doubt, bro. Come on now. Come on now. Like I said, I'm not no influencer. Like I try to
Yeah.
run a real business.
Dude, it's crazy how you want to just go offline like that.
Yeah. Do you
I
not?
don't think I want, well, I guess I kind of do feel like I want to.
Yeah, but also like you're kind of like an influencer that I enjoy following because you be doing shit that is not always business. Like you were telling me you went to what was it called? Fireman,
Burning
something like
Man.
that. Burning Man, bro. I keep saying that, dude. Burning, like you're doing things in like your life that are
Yeah.
honestly valuable to you, and you like to share these experiences and things like. Like it's just dope. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if someone's always posting like this is how you make more money and this is my Lambo and blah blah. I'm like, bro, you're a fucking loser, bro. You assign your value to how expensive your car is, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I've been on now that I'm making more money than I've made before, it's all about experiences, and learning new things. So getting good at surfing, going to these crazy events, learning how to skydive, right? And just doing things that I
Crazy.
always kind of
You're
dreamed
actually
of.
crazy. You're
And
actually
that
crazy.
make me just be like throughout the day and think about like, oh, I'm jumping out of an airplane tomorrow, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? you know?
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, Christian, it's been awesome talking to you. And before we wrap up, like there is a lot of valuable advice that you've learned throughout the years being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of advice that you've heard from other people. You're a very curious person, and so you're always like trying to learn new things from different industries, from different styles of entrepreneurs. Now, what is something that has stuck with you that if you were to look at new agency owners or like, they're already at 10, 20, 30K a month, what
Mhm.
would be your advice for them today?
Simplicity scales. If you're trying to overcomplicate your business, it's gonna be very hard to scale. That's the thing is like the lead gen agency that we scaled to 500K a month in 90 days that I was telling you about. I think I was working there like an hour a week, bro. Like an hour a week, and I had one employee, bro. To a normal person, that's like what the fuck, right? Um, don't overcomplicate. Come up with better systems. Because that's the thing is anybody making 20, 30K a month has already come up through that hump of believing in themselves that they can sell And that I think is one of the biggest challenges of entrepreneurship is like when at the beginning, like you feel like you want to do something, but you feel internally that you suck, right? Even though most of the time they're not honest with themselves. If you were to close your business today, would you build it the same? And if the answer is no, that means you're overcomplicating it. You know what I'm saying?
And Christian, where can people connect with you if they want to follow more about you or if they want to get in touch?
100%. Hit me up on YouTube. You can just look up my name, Christian Jamal, on Instagram as well. DM me your most hated part of this podcast, and then we can chop it up. And that's pretty much it. If you guys need help with my team running you guys' ads, GenTech Marketing is the way to go. And if you guys want me to audit your business internally as an individual, then just shoot me a DM on IG.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for everybody listening. Thank you, Christian, for your time. It's super valuable to have you here and bring your energy to this podcast. I love that. I feed off that energy, and it got me pumped up for the rest of my day. Hopefully got all of you guys pumped up to go out there and crush it. And please, if you found value in this podcast, subscribe, like, comment, and I'll get to those comments, answer you to the best of my abilities. But for now, I'll see you on the next one.